To say that a mental shock was the cause of what I inferred, that last straw that sent me racing out of the lonely Akeley farmhouse in a stolen automobile at night and through those haunted hills, is to ignore the plainest facts of my experience. Now, I cannot say now whether I was right or wrong in my hideous inference, for after all, Akeley's disappearance establishes nothing. The authorities, they found nothing amiss in the house, despite the numerous bullet marks. There was no sign of guests or of the hideous cylinders or the hellish machines in the study. And there was certainly no evidence of them. The whole matter began, as far as my part in this twisted chain of horrific events, with the historic flood of 1927. I was, as I suppose I still am, an instructor of literature at Miskatonic University in Arkham, Massachusetts, as well as an enthusiastic student of local folklore. Well, shortly after the flood, there began to appear certain odd stories of things floating in the swollen rivers. Excuse me, sir. So I was wondering if you could help me.
You look like city folk.
Yes, I'm from Arkham, the university. I'm I'm here investigating reports of bodies found in the river. I was told to come to the Pierce farm, and to specifically to look for Mr. Ammy Pierce. Do you know Mr. Pierce?
Yeah, I be him.
Oh, Mr. Pierce, it's a pleasure. I've come here from Miskatonic. I've had several newspaper clippings here. There have been reports of strange sightings in the swollen rivers of late, and here in one of these you're quoted, in fact, as having seen one of these creatures. What can you tell me about them, sir? I suspect that they're just domestic animals, but I've heard some strange things.
Yeah, I seen one, young sir, and it warn't no domestic animal. I've lived all my life on this farm, and I've seen how cruel Mother Nature can be when she's in one of her fits. I've delivered two-headed calves. Pigs with what looked like fins. And even a child looking more like a beast than a man. And I seen what was in that river, and I can tell you it was nothing of this earth.
But sir, surely decomposition can account for some
Decomposition?
bizarre...
Can decomposition turn a pig into some huge crab? Can it create two huge fins or wings sticking out of a back? Maybe it was decomposition, as you say, that created tentacles where there should be a head.
Sir, I'm aware of local superstitions that state
You're
that
just like all the rest of them city folk that come down here. They think they have all God's creation in them books of theirs. I told you what I saw, young sir, and I suggest that if that degree of yours is worth the paper that it's printed on, that you'll be smart enough to know to leave this place and forget that ever you heard anything about them bodies. Good day, I say.
Sir, I was only interested
I say good day, sir.
Good day. How I wish 1,000 times that I had listened to that wise old man. How I wish that I had returned to the comforting halls of academia. But I was far too curious and far too sure of my view of the world to be frightened by these colorful tales. It was my conclusion that Mr. Pierce, then in my mind simple and naive backwoods folk, had glimpsed the bloated bodies of human beings or farm animals or perhaps pieces of both that had congregated together into a single form and had allowed half-remembered folklore to invest these objects with supernatural attributes. Although I had never lived in those horrific hills, I had heard the tales of monsters spotted in the wilderness and the trees, and sightings of things horrific and strange in those areas where even wolves feared to tread. The meeting with Mr. Pierce had left me a bit frustrated, and I had heard of the locals and their suspicion of outsiders. But, I had nearly forgotten about the matter when I read an article in the Brattleboro Reformer about a strange, crab-like footprint that had been found near the banks of the river. And of course, my curiosity was instantly rekindled, and I sent a follow-up letter to the Reformer, requesting that anyone else with information on these sightings, these creatures, to engage me in written correspondence. Someone answered my request. The letter was from Mr. Henry Akeley. Mr. Akeley requested a personal meeting with me. He said he had stories about the bodies in the rivers and that I would find our encounter enlightening. Well, naturally, I agreed. Mr. Akeley? I'm Mr. Wilmarth. Sir? I'm sorry, I was expecting someone, and you...
Let's see your hands.
I have no money.
Your hands, sir. Let's see your hands. Mr. Wilmarth?
Yes?
I'm Henry Akeley, sir. Oh, please, forgive the gun, sir, but once you hear my story, you'll understand. Sir, I wish we could have met under more pleasant circumstances.
Hello, Mr. Akeley. Why the revolver, sir?
When you hear the story I have to tell, you will truly understand why I go armed at all times now, sir.
Does this have to do with the stories of the creatures?
Oh yes, it has all to do with the stories of the creatures. I've noticed that you show quite an interest in the surroundings of the Great Flood.
Yes.
Especially the floating bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm here to tell you what you've been following, what you've been researching is not folklore, but it's true.
Many people have made the same claim, but they have nothing more than superstition to back it up.
Proof. Sir, I offer proof. Proof of these creatures.
Proof.
I have seen these things.
You've seen these bodies floating in the river?
No, sir. I have seen them walking in the woods. I have seen their footprints. I have got pictures of these footprints. I even arranged to make a phonograph recording of this buzzing type voice, devilish sound they make one dark moonless night up in the hills, up in these hills.
Where are these things? Do you have them?
Well, in all honesty, sir, I did not bring it with me. Being paranoid as I am, I thought this could be a trap or a setup.
What? A trap? Who would try to trap you?
Sir, someone or something I believe is watching me at all times. They could actually be watching us now. They have spies among us. They have recruited people. We cannot trust anyone.
Well, how can I get the evidence? How can I see these things? I would love to see them.
Sir, if you are willing, I will have these items shipped to you. It's very difficult for me to travel. My old automobile is unreliable at best. It's just difficult for me to take train passage. I'm afraid it's getting dangerous for me to travel. I must always be in my cabin before dark. But I will arrange these items to be sent to you.
Okay. This is also overwhelming. I'm frankly a bit stunned. You're not at all what I expected.
Oh, well, don't let these clothes fool you. Wearing a suit's something I kind of got in a habit of. When I was just a boy, 16, I decided I'd leave these mountains and go find my fortune. Well, I spent some time in some trenches in France during the war, and after that, I thought, well, I'll further my education. So I went to the university. I've always been interested in chemistry and science. And after graduation, they offered me a position.
That's where I met my beautiful wife, Katie. Fever took her 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why we met here. I still like to occasionally come just to see her. But sir, I digress. I need to ask that you keep this to yourself.
You mean I can't speak of this meeting to my correspondents with the paper?
No, sir. No, sir. Especially the papers. You must discontinue all correspondence, all writings, all letters to editors.
But why?
I do not know what will happen if these creatures come face to face with human beings.
Okay.
So I have to ask you that you keep it to yourself, please.
Fair enough. I can do that. I assure you, Mr. Akeley, that I am quite interested and that I am quite capable.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure. Little did I know how incapable I would be. Surely I didn't believe his stories of a monstrous race that lives among us. And I would have thought him quite mad, if not for his state of genuine alarm. I mean, it was difficult for me to believe that all cause was lacking. Oh, and it was several days later when the package arrived.
Albert, if I may address you as such. Once again, I would like to apologize for the unpleasantries during our first meeting. I do not make a habit of pulling a gun on everyone I meet. But, sir, I have found that if I do not remain cautious, I may not remain alive. But now to the business at hand. Enclosed, you will find the items which we spoke earlier. Phonograph cylinder, photographs, and my journal, which I have been keeping at the beginning of this whole ordeal. I am sending you copies, for I have evidence that my mail is being tampered with. For this case, I have the originals in a safe place. Sir, if you're not too horrified with what you have seen so far, I do beg your help in uncovering this mystery. Yours truly, Henry Akeley.
For he is the Lord of the woods. So from the wells of night to the gulfs of space, and from the gulfs of space to the wells of night, ever in the praise of Cthulhu, of Sethagua, and of him who is not to be named. Ever their praises in abundance to the black goat of the woods, Ea Shub Nagurath, the goat with 1,000 young. Ea Shub Nagurath, the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. And it has come to pass that the Lord of the woods, he who has taught us his marvels, who flies on wings of night out beyond space, whereof Yuggoth is the youngest child, rolling alone in the black ether, he who knows, who goes out among men and finds the ways thereof, that he may know. To Nyarlathotep, mighty messenger, must all things be told, and he shall put on the semblance of men, the waxen mask and the robe of skin that hides, and come down from the world of 7 suns.
Hello?
Hello, Albert? Yes, this is Henry.
Dear God, man, you scared me nearly half to death.
I thought I'd call you while my phone was still working.
What are you having trouble with the line?
I've had the lineman out here several times in the last month. Someone doesn't want me to speak to the outside world, apparently.
Surely not.
Yes, the workmen say it's getting torn down and cut in the same place. I can only guess it's one of those devilish claws getting into it. I wanted to let you know that I believe the situation is getting more dire. Last night, several of my dogs just barked savagely for hours and hours. And then this morning, as I was around my cabin, I saw a lot of the claw prints within a couple of 100 feet of my house. I'm afraid if it wasn't for the dogs, they would be in the cabin.
Henry, if you're in any kind of danger, you should leave.
Albert, I'm the 6th generation Akeley to live on this mountain. I was born here and I'm probably going to die here.
No, you should contact the authorities.
What would I tell them, Albert? What would I tell the authorities?
I suppose you're right.
I'm sorry, Albert. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put this off on you, Albert. Albert?
Henry, are you there? Henry?
Albert?
Henry? What have I gotten into? What indeed? All I could do was sit and wait and read. Akeley's journal. It described these monstrous shapes, these hideous pink forms, this terrible cosmic narrative. I found myself faced with the most hideous of names. Yoggoth, Cthulhu, Sathagua, Nyarlathotep. Akeley's journal drew back the veil on eons of monstrous and inconceivable dimensions. Things that the author of the horrid Necronomicon had only guessed at in the vaguest way. I then vowed to do anything in my power to keep people away from those haunted hills. I thought of Akeley's phone going dead, and I could only imagine the horrors he would face when the sun went down.
The linemen are angry. They said they won't be out again to fix the line.
They said it was cut in almost the exact same place every time. Albert, they're coming closer to my cabin every night. This morning, I found those claw-like prints extremely close to my cabin.
Well, recruited you some help, have you? I'll be ready for you. Hear me? Be ready for you freaks, all of you. Hear me? Ow. Got one of you devils, didn't I? You do bleed, don't you?
It was obvious that the claw was torn off during a fight with the dog. The strangest part was, within an hour, the claw had just dissolved into like a dust-type particles and had just almost vanished. The worst part, Albert, it's the voice of the thing. That horrible, horrible voice. It's enough to drive a man to madness. Sheer madness. I know there's several of the men in the area that's helping these beasts, but I have no way of knowing who they are.
You need to leave, Henry. They mean to kill you. I'm going to pack my things and head to your place tonight. At least I can help you fend off those devils.
Albert, I couldn't stand it if you put yourself in danger. You must stay there. Someone must.
Henry? Henry? So I packed all my things and got ready to leave for his house, despite Akeley's warnings. But I couldn't help but think that the whole situation was at least in part my fault. I mean, but then a telegram showed up at my house the next morning. There was something strange about that telegram. I mean, how could he have gotten to the telegraph station so fast? You know, and he misspelled his own last name. I mean, why would a man misspell his own last name? He left the last E out in Akeley. I mean, it just doesn't add up. I replied to the telegram the next day. Shortly after, I received a letter from Akeley. It's handwritten and in shaky handwriting. Turns out that he never sent the telegram. No. You know, and when he went to investigate it, the guy at the telegraph office said that it was sent by someone with a raspy, buzzing voice. The next few days were a nightmare of dread. I was powerless. I couldn't go to the authorities with this bizarre tale. With no proof, they would think me mad and have me committed. I was afraid to venture out to Akeley's in fear of some sort of retaliation by the crab creatures. All I could do was wait.
They put this on me.
I didn't want it. They put this on me. It's not my fault. It's not me. These things, they put this on me. It's not me. I had to know. People had to know. Had to know to save people's lives. I shot somebody. But they knew. Sometimes people have to die so other people can live. Don't put this on me. I'm just trying to save people's lives. That's all I'm trying to do. I couldn't save Katie's life. I'm just trying to save people's lives. They got to know. They put this on me. I didn't put it on myself. Who the hell put this on me? It's not Albert. What if I get Albert killed? It's another person. It's not on me. It's not on me. It's not me. You gotta understand. Don't put this on me.
Akeley! Come to your senses, man. How long do you think you can defend yourself in that house? You know what they want? It'll be glorious.
We'll be putting them all damn cylinders!
Stand up. Get up. Akeley, put that damn gun up, man. You almost hit someone that time.
Yeah? Wait until the next one. I will fall into the trap like you did.
These beings, they're not as monstrous as you're making them out to be, Akeley. They want to give you a unique gift. One that very few humans have had a chance to experience. This can all end right now, Akeley. All of this. Just come out. You know what they want. It doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to drag you out of there kicking and screaming. You can walk out like a man. This is the last time that they are going to appeal to your intellect. From here on out, it's exactly the way they want it. One last time, Akeley. Come out of there!
Go to hell!
And then, perhaps the strangest event of all to transpire. I received a final letter from Akeley, and this one was not handwritten, but typed on a new machine. I shall recount it from memory, as I will never forget it. Dear Mr. Wilmarth,
It gives me great pleasure to set your mind at rest regarding the matters of late. I believe I mentioned that the beings had started to communicate with me. Last night was a great revelation. It seems like I misjudged these beings. I must admit their form is frightening due to the difference from our own. But the creatures are quite benign, and their purpose here I have greatly misjudged. It seems the legends that abound about these beings were formed by illiterate farmers and savage Indians. What I thought morbid and horrific is actually quite glorious. I regret the harm I have done to these alien visitors. In our nightly skirmishes I have injured them greatly, yet they still bear me no grudge. All they wish of man is peace and intellectual rapport. The very idea that they intended to enslave mankind to me now is ridiculous. I know all of this must come to you as a shock, considering my previous letters, but I assure you this is the situation. The outer ones have promised me knowledge beyond that of any other human being. They have promised to make the vastness of the cosmos known to me. They have also extended this invitation to you. I will be more than willing to explain all of this further in person. I can now safely invite you to my home. Any and all questions you have now will be answered in my study. I urge you to take this opportunity. Just the limited time I have spent with the outer ones has shown me a universe I could have only imagined. I truly believe that your quest for knowledge will bring you here. Please bring the photos and the phonograph cylinders with you, for I have misplaced the originals in one of my nightly skirmishes. Pardon the typewritten letter. I am still recovering from the initial stress of this whole ordeal, and I am not able to write long stretches of text. Yours in anticipation, Henry Akeley.
I was completely horrified by that letter. I mean, it was in such contrast to the Akeley that I had come to know. I mean, this sudden change in attitude to the beast that had been trying to kill him only days before. And my curiosity was equally matched by my apprehension. I had to know, but what might be waiting for me there? What might these creatures have in store for me? But I could not go. I had to know. I had to. I could have gotten off the train several times. At each stop, I felt that my every last bit of sanity beckoned me to do so. But I stayed on, and I saw through the trip. I waited when I got to my destination for the prearranged automobile to pick me up, and I thought it was going to be Henry. But I was wrong.
Mr. Wilmarth. Mr. Albert Wilmarth? Markham, Mass?
Yes? And you are?
Forgive my manners, sir.
I'm Mr. Noyes. I'm a friend of Mr. Akeley's. Mr. Akeley wasn't able to make it down here to the train to see you to his house and has asked me to come in his stead. Unfortunately, Mr. Akeley has been stricken with a rather acute case of asthmatic trouble, and a trip in the outside air at this point, I'm afraid, is quite impossible. His condition is grave, but not grave enough to cancel your meeting. So, sir, if you please.
Forgive me, but have we met before? And there's something strangely familiar about you.
No, sir. Surely a man of your reputation I would remember.
My reputation, sir?
Your folklore studies, Mr. Wilmarth, at the university. They are fascinating.
Well, thank you. So you're a friend of Mr. Akeley's?
I've known Mr. Akeley for many years, yeah.
Are you a neighbor?
Neighbor. Of sorts, yes.
It's just that Mr. Akeley never mentioned you and...
Well, sir, if you'll forgive my breach of etiquette, but there may be many things Mr. Akeley hasn't mentioned. Sir, if you please. You'll have to forgive me, sir, but as you can see, the road gets rather treacherous from here on out. The rest of the journey will have to be on foot. It's up there. Sir, in all good conscience, I must take a second to warn you that his appearance may be a bit disturbing to you, perhaps even shocking. You see, the fever has left Mr. Akeley in quite a terrible state. His hands are swollen, his ankles are swollen. They've all had to be wrapped in bandages. His voice is barely over a coarse whisper. He's virtually immobilized. You won't be much of a host, I'm afraid, for a few days. You'll have to take care of yourself. But I assure you, his present state is temporary. Unfortunately, I have business to take me elsewhere, and I won't be able to enjoy the pleasure of your company. But sir, let me assure you that it has been a pleasure to finally meet you. And I bid you good day, sir.
Mr. Akeley?
Mr. Wilmarth, I presume. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Please forgive me for not rising. As Mr. Manoyas has informed you, this fever has left me quite weak. You will have to wait on yourself tonight, sir. Your room is prepared upstairs. There's a meal there for you. Please eat and enjoy. You did bring the photograph and the recordings, didn't you?
Yes, I have them here.
Well, tomorrow I will be a much better host. But I will sleep here tonight.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
No, I'll be fine. This is not the first time I've had this fever. It will last a couple of days, and then it will be gone.
Einstein was wrong, you know. There is certain forces in the universe that can travel faster than the speed of light. And time is only a suggestion and reference. I hope to travel with the outer ones to other planets in the far outer rim of our galaxy. I'm sorry, my enthusiasm must be quite obvious, despite my weakened condition. But please, go to your room upstairs, settle in, eat, rest, for tomorrow will be quite a day. Good night, sir.
What have I gotten into? I should have felt the danger in that house. I know. I should have left. But I was strangely hypnotized by Akeley's voice. I mean, it had an almost hypnotic quality to it. And that house, the smell, the moldy, rotting smell. And Akeley's skin, it was waxy and pale and almost dead. You know, if I had been a different man, I would have fled. But I couldn't tear myself away. My curiosity was burning through me. I had to know. I had to see it through.
Slept well.
Honestly, no. A bit fitful, I'm afraid.
Well, under these fantastic circumstances, I guess. But tonight you will probably rest better. I realize my appearance must be quite unsettling. This fever has ravaged my already weakened body. but I assure you this will pass. Are you ready to hear what I have to tell you?
As ready as I guess I'll ever be. And what whispers I heard that evening in that darkened room among those lonely hills. The extent of the cosmic horrors that unfolded before me in that horrid voice, I dare not even hint at now. The secrets he had learned since making peace with the outer ones was almost too much for sanity to bear. Never was a sane man more dangerously close to total annihilation than the chaos that is beyond form. I learned of the origins of Cthulhu, the monstrous chaos the Necronomicon mercifully cloaked under the name of Azathoth, and the vast influences these dark forces had over countless human slaves on this planet and beyond.
I realize this must be too much, too soon. But there's no easy way to make this known to you. When I first learned, I was quite shocked. But in time, you will see the wonder of it also. Will you take this journey with me?
What journey?
Oh, I neglected to mention that. The outer ones have traveled the cosmos for eons. Their bodies are composed of a material that can withstand the ravages of outer space. But a complete human body cannot make these journeys. But they have a method which they can remove the brain from the body. Their knowledge of surgeries and science and mechanics are so far-reaching they are beyond human comprehension. The brain is placed in a cylinder that is airtight. The body is kept alive in this safe state of suspended animation. These cylinders enable the brain to see, to hear, and to speak. One of these cylinders has been prepared for me. The outer ones have prepared a cylinder for you. Maybe a demonstration will ease your troubled mind. Take that curtain down. The cylinder is mine. Leave it alone. Take cylinder 3371. Place it on the table beside the machine. Take it. Place it on the table beside the machine. Attach that cord to the cylinder. Turn the black switch. Turn the switch on, Mr. Wilmers. Turn the black switch, Mr. Wilmarth. Turn the switch on, Mr. Wilmarth. Are you a frightened schoolboy? Albert. Just turn the black switch, Albert.
Mr. Wilmar, I hope I do not startle you. I am a human being, just like yourself, though my body is resting safely elsewhere. I am with you now, here, I assure you. My brain is in this cylinder, and I am able to see, to hear, and to speak. In a few days, I will be making the journey across the void of space. Mr. Akeley has agreed to join us. I hope to have the pleasure of your company also. I know you by sight and by reputation, sir.
How do you know me?
I've followed your articles and letters you wrote in the paper. I am, of course, one of those who has aligned himself with the Outer Ones. I first met them in the Himalayas, and they have helped me in various ways. As a gift of trust, they have given me something that only a few humans in our history have experienced.
What kind of experience?
I have visited many celestial bodies, planets, dark stars, even places outside the curved cosmos of space and time. None of these have harmed me in the least, My brain has been removed in a manner so precise it would be crude to call it surgery. I believe Mr. No-Yes will be coming with us. You have no doubt met him already. He is the one who brought you here in his car, and surely you recognized his voice as the one on the recording Mr. Akeley sent you. I know all of this must come as a shock to you, Mr. Wilmarth. For that I apologize. I will leave the matter of your trip to you. This is truly a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and I am sure that a man of your intellect and curiosity will see it as such. I assure you, sir, there is nothing to fear. There is no pain. Rather, it is quite enjoyable in this mechanical state. When the machine is turned off, one drops into a sleep of vivid and fantastic dreams. Perhaps we can speak of this tomorrow. Treat our guest well, Mr. Akeley. You may switch the machine off now, Albert.
I think I would like to retire to my room now.
If you wish, we will continue this conversation tomorrow.
No, he's upstairs. I drugged the coffee again. He's not going anywhere.
This has to end here. Too many people are becoming involved.
There's no reason we can't stay with the original plan. He has no one that'll come looking for him. And let's face it, the local sheriff will cover it all for us.
I brought this on myself. He wasn't even part of it until I dragged him into it. Without the evidence, no one will believe him. He doesn't have to die.
Your opinion matters very little now, Mr. Akeley.
Well, everything seems to be under control here. I'll be back with a cylinder in the morning. I hope you enjoy your glorious gift, Mr. Akeley.
The voices from the hall convinced me. I would not spend another night in that house. I would not subject myself to the unknown surgical horrors at the hands or claws of those fungi from Yuggoth. But what of Akeley? I mean, despite whatever persuasion they may have used to convince him, he is still my friend. Do I not owe it to him to try to get him out of here to safety? Do I not owe it to us both?
That's when I saw them.
Those things that, to this day, they send my mind reeling. There in the chair, in perfect detail. With a face and hands of Henry Akeley.